If you're watching this video, well, that means one of two things. Either you are an actor with some experience and you're looking to learn some tips and tricks to even improve and hone in on your craft, or you want to become an actor and you're looking for that big break to get into acting in film. Well, either way, no matter who you are, I'm hoping that you can take something away from this video to help you grow and improve your craft as an actor. And joining me in helping to give some of this advice, I've pulled in interviews from 3 amazingly talented and experienced actors in the independent film scene, those being Timothy J Cox, Adam Joseph Turner, and Heather Bayles. So without further ado, here are 5 tips that you can use to become a better actor today. Some actors may shy away from being typecast to fill certain types of supporting parts. A lot of us dream of being that chameleon-style actor like Christian Bale who can pretty much slip into any role. And who doesn't want to be that leading star of an Academy Award-winning film? But if there's one common theme that you're going to hear across this entire video, it's to check your ego at the door. Don't shy away from being typecast or from being more of a character actor, filling in, supporting or smaller parts in the movie. Embrace whatever part that you have and play it to the best of your ability to help bring that character to life on screen.
Don't be afraid to be typecast or anything like that. Take on what you're good at and basically market yourself so you're better at it than anyone else. And when a role like that comes up, people are like, I know who I'm calling.
Well, one of the first things I learned, I had a really great teacher at Marietta College. He was a tough teacher, a man named Steve Rader, and he did not sugarcoat. He, even when I was in my teens and in my 20s, doing Shakespeare and classical theater, I was playing 20, 25 years older. And he had said, look, you're going to be a character actor. And he said, you don't have the conventional, leading man kind of looks. And it turned out to be the greatest thing, him saying that, because I think one of the important things for an actor is that you have to know where you fit.
Another great piece of advice for actors is that you really want to try to pull in from real life experiences as much as you can into the performances that you take. And although we all love movies, I mean, that's why we do this, and sure, you are going to draw some influence from films that you've seen or other actors that you like, but the truth is you want to be able to draw some real life connections. Art imitates life in many ways. And so go out, get some hobbies outside of film, travel, meet people, and make friends. And along the way, pay attention and study and observe the human nature. And as you do, you can draw in from these experiences that you have in real life and use that to help shape and flesh out the characters that you're playing in film. There could be someone that you meet that, there's a certain aspect about them that just really ticks and really works with the character that you're studying for to portray in a movie. And you can bring and draw in some of that real life to help bring that character out on screen.
Explore, get out in the world. Some of the best actors, I think, are people who actors are ultimately students of human nature. And travel. If there was one thing that I regret not doing in my high school or college years was I didn't travel as much as I wanted to explore the world. And I think because if you're well-read, if you're well-versed, you have that treasure chest of things that you could jump in, pick from. Okay, if I'm looking at a script and I'm playing a real estate boss or something or in real estate, oh God, yeah, I remember my wife and I, we were trying to buy an apartment or a house, and we had this really aggressive real estate agent. So to be, I think, starting out as an actor, I think it's important to also have as well-rounded a life as possible.
I've experienced a lot through my life. And so I'm able to incorporate a lot of those experiences into a character to be able to say, it wasn't exactly like that, but I did feel rage at that moment, or I was very sad when this happened. And so you can kind of use that as a catalyst into your performance.
So when I look at you and I say be a humble sponge, what in the world does that mean? Well, there's a couple aspects of that. There's the humble part and there's the sponge part of that. We'll talk about the humble part. Here's the thing. When you walk onto a set, and it doesn't matter if you're the lead actor, it doesn't matter if you're a background extra. No matter where you're coming from and what you're going to, be portraying in the movie, come in with a humble mindset, treat everybody with respect, and once again, check your ego at the door. It's really important to build these relationships and talk to people and be friendly and be courteous and be respectful, and importantly, ask questions, and that's where the sponge part comes in. Because also you're absorbing information like a sponge. You're absorbing, you're learning, you're there, you're present and in the moment on set, and you're studying everything around you, and you're talking to people. And it's the relationships that you build and the friendships that you make, as well as what you learn from just observing what it's like being on set, that's going to help really carry you throughout your entire career.
Observe kind of everything that's going on. Observe the tempo and different parts and what different things that are said mean. And then, you can start to prove yourself early on as a reliable person. Show up on time, don't complain, do what you're asked, help in any way you can. Don't come in like you have an agenda or that you're above anyone else or above doing anything. Be very humble, and people will recognize that, and people are going to be more likely to call you if you are professional and humble rather than being, a showboating diva with little experience.
One aspect of acting that gets focused on almost way too much is the idea of memorizing your lines. I think it goes as a no-brainer that you want to be off book when you step onto set. But knowing your lines isn't even half the battle. Acting truly is reacting. You're listening and you're involved in the scene that you're in. You can't just sit there and think, oh, what's my next line? Or, oh, when is it my turn to talk? Because if you do that, then you're not listening to the scene around you. And part of that is listening and paying attention to the emotions and the thoughts and the words being conveyed from other people in your scene, the other actors, your scene partners. But then part of that is also listening to some of the other subtler cues, not just the other actors in the scene, but what about the setting? What set dressing? What are the props that you're interacting with? What is the time? There's a lot of elements, and you need to be present and fully involved in that scene. And you have to bring out that authenticity, because if all you're doing is worrying about the actual written dialogue and the actual lines that you're going to be delivering, and you're not really fully engrossed in paying attention, well, it's going to come off as inauthentic, and you're not truly going to be reacting to all the other elements that make up the scene that you're acting in. It won't be as natural. So yes, you want to know your lines, but not just for the sake of knowing your lines. You want to know your lines so you could spend more time developing the character and developing your own sense of body language and sense of self within the scene so that you can listen and be present on set.
It's not about just memorizing and knowing your lines. You need to really know the scene and the character and the emotions that go along with those lines. I think starting out, we focus on knowing our lines so much because, especially if you're coming from theater, because that is a huge focus in theater, is learning your lines and knowing your lines, and then everything else kind of comes along with it. But yeah, I think I'm learning a lot more on understanding the scenes.
Really memorize your lines, memorize them out loud, talk to yourself, and then when you think you have it, say them as rapidly as possible. Just boom, 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 boom. That way, that you have those lines and you're not thinking about those lines when you deliver. You're thinking about the performance, you're thinking about your body language, the stuff that you're saying, the stuff you're not saying, how your face looks.
And so the final piece of advice that I really want to talk about in this video is this idea of getting to know your character inside and out. The best acting isn't going to be when you're playing a character. The best acting is going to be when you are the character. And now you might be working with a director who is going to give you a lot of feedback and a lot of notes in terms of who's this character, what is their backstory, what are their motivations, their wants, their dreams, their aspirations. Sometimes you're going to get that, especially if you're a more major character in the movie. But in some instances, you're not going to get that kind of feedback. The director's not really going to go that in depth, especially if you're playing a smaller character, if you're a day player and you don't have a giant part in the film. And that's okay, because it's your job as the actor to take a little bit of creative freedom and think, okay, where was my character at an hour ago? What is my character's life story? I mean, you could be the smallest, most insignificant character, but if you know this and you're fully engrossed and enveloped into the part that you are portraying, you're going to be bringing out a more sense of authenticity. So if you need to write a backstory for your character and you need to learn more about who they were before, what do they want now, and what is their purpose in the overall sense of the scene and the overall sense of the movie, then that's going to help you tremendously to give the most natural and believable performance that you can give in the movie. And that also goes along with reading the script. Once again, here's another example of leaving your ego at the door. Don't just skim the script for your part and then study your part and then that's it. No, study the entire script. How does your scene fit into the grander scheme of the movie? The more that you understand the story and the vision that the director has, the better that you can prepare to give that kind of performance on set and to adjust to the direction that you might be given when you're on set.
You have to be able to study human behavior. You have to know how people react to sadness, to love, to happiness, to anger, to rage. You have to be able to know how each person manifests that, whether it be vocally or non-vocally, just non-verbal, and you can see it in their body language. Read, especially nonfiction. Watch documentaries about the time and the place that your character is in. If it's a historical film, you better know exactly what happened during that time period, because that's all going to mold the character that you're trying to create. Read that script, whatever script it is, front and then backwards.
Even if we're just in a scene with one line, like, we might make up a backstory on that character, even though they're just there to slightly move the scene forward a little bit. But, in our minds, we, whether maybe we're a character in a supermarket and we have to say something to the main character, maybe we're grumpy or something. Like, why am I grumpy? Like, I'm not just gonna deliver it grumpy. Like, I'll create a little backstory for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be as in depth, obviously, but it'll just be like, I went to the other store before I came here and they were closed. I don't know, something like that.
So there you have it. Those are 5 ways that you can improve your acting today. I hope that you liked this video and that you learned something from it. And if you are enjoying this content, then please subscribe, smash that like button, and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any videos right here on the Franz Productions channel. And if you're an actor and you have some advice that you'd like to share for other actors in the industry, then go ahead and down in the comments, share some advice. I mean, we're all learning, we're all growing, and it's always great to hear from other people in the industry and some of the lessons that you've learned along the way and ways that we can all help build each other up. Anyway, guys, until next time, as always, That's a wrap.